and his name is John, and he spent time in Rwanda, and he has put together a presentation about his trip, and at the end there'll be time for questions, okay? So be an appreciative audience, and we'll save time at the end so you can ask questions, so be thinking about them, okay?
Thanks.
All right.
Hi, everybody. How you doing today?
Good.
Good, thanks. How was the MCAS?
They wish it was another hour.
Not a good topic to bring up. So I want to start by introducing myself. My name's John, and I would define myself as a human rights activist. Does anyone know what that is? Yeah?
It means that you stand up for people and you go help causes.
Yeah, that's great. Anybody else want to add to that? If you break it down, right, the first part of that is human rights, and that's sort of what my presentation is going to be about today. It's why I'm here. It's why I went to Rwanda. Human rights are certain basic rights that I believe everyone should have in the world, whether that's everyone should have a right to food or water. And currently in the world today, everyone isn't having that right. And people are actually dying because they don't have food or water. And so that's the first part of that, human rights. And then there's activists. So basically, I don't just believe that, I feel like I should do something about it. So I believe that those rights should be extended to every single person. Everyone should have clean water, everyone should have food, everyone should have education like you guys. And so that's what a human rights activist is. So I, in my own small way, try to contribute what I can. But I didn't all of a sudden just wake up one day and said, I want to be a human rights activist. It started at a concert. Anybody here know U2? The band? Yeah? Yeah? All right. I wasn't expecting that many people. That's great. Well, they're my favorite band, and in 2005, so this was 5 years ago, I was at one of the concerts, and the lead singer, anybody know the name? Yeah, good. He was talking about global poverty, and he talked about children in the world that are literally dying because they don't have food in the 21st century. But he didn't just talk about it, in a way that made you feel bad. He spoke about an opportunity that we all have, our generation specifically, that's you and me, our opportunity to help those people. And, I was with 30,000 other people, but I felt like Bono was really talking to me, and he really connected to me. Of course, everybody else probably felt that way too. But, it really changed things for me. So, like I said, I didn't just wake up one day and decided I want to help people. It was a gradual process, I guess, but I think that concert is where it kind of started off. And so Bono talked about this group called One that he founded. Anybody heard of One? It's this white bracelet. It's the campaign to end global poverty. And I learned about that campaign, and I decided to start a chapter of One at Curry College, which is where I just graduated from. And we called it One Curry. Not very creative, but that was the name. And so this is just a brief little clip of our group. 30,000 children die every day
from extreme poverty and AIDS.
Die every day.
From extreme poverty and AIDS.
A daughter,
a son,
a brother,
a sister.
30,000
every day.
Each and every one of them
could have been saved.
could be saved.
can be saved.
if we act.
We have the power, the resources,
The technology.
To end extreme poverty.
all we need is the will.
The will.
One by
One,
Our voices can make a difference.
difference.
Together, as one,
Together as one,
As one.
as one.
as one,
we can save lives.
we can save lives. Save lives.
We can change the world. So that's just a little bit about us. Thanks. And, I should mention to you guys that specifically I'm a filmmaker, and so what I really want to do with human rights is film and show people what's happening in the world. And so, I'm here today, and I have a lot of footage to show you. I'm sure you're more interested in that than me talking to you. So, I'm going to show you some of that footage from Rwanda, which is where I went. But basically, we started that group, and then we started raising awareness on campus, and we were trying to think, what can we do? Because I think that's the question that always comes up. How can you make a difference in the world? And so one of our members is from Sudan, and I'm told that you guys are doing some work for Sudan as well, which is great. And we talked to him about, where he grew up. and he had just been back there, and the village where he grew up, there was no clean water, none. Not to brush your teeth, not to wash your hands, not to drink, no clean water. And people had to walk miles to get it. And, you know, we thought, well, here's something we can do. Here's a way that we can help people. And so what we decided to do was raise money to build a well where they could get clean water from. And over 2 years, we raised $11,000 on our campus for that cause. And we showed people on our campus that you can make a difference, you know, because now hundreds of people will have clean water. And so because of our work there, I was invited to this human rights conference in Rwanda, and it brought together people from all over the world who were my age, young people. And, you know, I met people from Peru and Brazil and Australia and Ireland. All these people from around the world came together. And, you know, it was a really exciting moment to be able to meet all these other people who are doing similar work. And so, you know, that's what I'm going to share with you today, our experiences in Rwanda, in Africa. Now, I think we all, we have these ideas of what places are like before we ever even visit them, and I certainly had those ideas. I mean, what are some of the first things that you guys picture when you think of Africa? Yep.
AIDS.
AIDS, okay. Anybody else? Yep.
Eat.
Sorry?
Eat.
Eat, yep. Anybody else? Yep.
Deserts and rainforests.
Yep. Okay. Yeah? Okay. And, you know, that's exactly, I thought of all these things. Yep, do you want to add to that? You know, I thought of those exact same things when I went there. And I think we all have an image of Africa, and none of you mentioned this. You probably learned more about Africa in the 7th grade than I did. But I think a lot of us have an image like this. You know, and so you see the wild animals. It's just this big place with lots of wild animals, with jungles, with deserts. It's hot everywhere you go. People live in little huts. You know, you have all these ideas of what it's going to be like. And I'm no different. I had all those ideas when I went. Well, I think this is a more accurate map of Africa. So this represents each country, the flag, and there's 53 different countries in Africa, more than any other continent in the world. And what I really want to emphasize is the difference, because every single country is different. And, you know, some of them are deserts, some of them have wild animals. But guess how many deserts I saw? Yep. You got it. How about wild animals? What do you think? Yeah, somebody else? Yep, he's pointing up the 0. That's good. I didn't see any wild animals. Yep. I didn't see any deserts. I didn't go to any jungles. I didn't stay in any huts. You know, and these are all things. I mean, I went there thinking, you know, I got to worry about these huge insects that are going to like attack me or something, right? Well, we all do that. But what's neat about traveling is you're able to see what it's actually like. And I think especially Africa, we see such a little amount in the news, in movies, in media. You know, we see those images of the desert and people dying of poverty and the jungle and big bugs and all the wild animals. But the reality is there is that, but there's a lot more in Africa. And so, you know, I was able to go to Rwanda specifically, and I want to show you a little bit of what I did see, because I talked about what I didn't see. This is just a little clip of some of the things I did see. And that's Rwanda, that little tiny country there. So that's a little bit of what I did see in Rwanda. And, I did not expect to see all the buildings there, all of the green hills. I mean, everywhere you look, there's these magnificent hills that I've never seen anything like it before. And I wasn't expecting that in Africa, but that's what Rwanda is. And, the reason we went to Rwanda was so that we could see a real African country and conquer some of these myths, some of these stereotypes that we initially think of. So we went to Rwanda, and another reason we went there is because Rwanda is actually sort of a model for other African countries. They have an economy that's really successful right now. They are more developed. There's more technology. There's more buildings. So they showed that we went to Rwanda so that we could see how much they're doing there. But another reason why we went to Rwanda is because we could see how far they've come since 1994, when 800,000 people were slaughtered. And it was one of the world's most intense genocides in history. Does anyone know what the word genocide means? Yep.
To kill for somebody's belief
Yep.
or background.
Yep. Anyone else want to add to that? Okay. Well, that was a good description, and that's exactly it. Genocide is when a certain people are exterminated, or at least when people try to exterminate them. And that could be certain people of a religion or of a class, of a certain culture, race. And in this case, it was race. There were two types of people in Rwanda, the Tutsi and the Hutu, and there were two different races. Now, there's nothing actually different about these people, but they were taught from the very beginning that they're different. The Hutu were darker, the Tutsi were lighter, the Tutsi were usually taller. These things don't actually mean anything, but there was a tension that built against them. And so basically what happened is in 1994, the Hutu, the president's plane, the president was Hutu, was shot down. And the Hutu people attacked the Tutsi people. And they killed 800,000 people over 100 days. And, I want to show you this image. Now, this is just of a pile of clothes that were collected after, of all the, not all, but many thousands of people who were slaughtered. And, it just gives you some glimpse into the magnitude of this. And what really made this genocide unique is that it wasn't just carried out by soldiers. This was carried out by neighbors. A neighbor actually would kill a neighbor. A doctor would kill his patients. A priest would kill. Everyday people were coming out to kill. And, for me at least, it's hard to wrap my head around that. I mean, how people could get to that point. Well, we went to a genocide memorial, and I remember standing there, and here I am in this beautiful country. All around me there are these hills, and it's just hard to even imagine how this could have happened just 16 years ago. And we started walking into the genocide memorial, and one of my friends there from Rwanda, he started explaining to me that just over on another one of these hills, there used to be a prison. And at the time of the genocide, where we were right now, where I was standing at that point, there was a school being built. And it was vacant at the time. It hadn't been finished. And so people took shelter at that school. And meanwhile, the killers released all of the prisoners from the other hill. And the prisoners and all of the killers attacked 50,000 people at this site, at this school, and killed them all. And, it's hard to wrap your head around that. We started walking in, and we didn't know what to expect in the memorial itself, what it was going to be. So as we walked into each building, the bodies were there, preserved. They, were preserved with chemicals, and we literally could see their last facial expressions. We could see their hands clenched in prayer. We could see mothers holding their babies. And I still, when I talk about it, I couldn't react to that. I think at some level, your emotions just can't handle something. I've never seen anything like that before. But this happened, and this happened only 16 years ago. But what's really, I think, important to ask is, how could this happen? How could so many people be killed like this? And there are many reasons why, and there's many factors that led to this genocide. But I think at the root, it's the idea that one people can look at another people as less than, so that they can look at other human beings and think of them not even as human beings. Literally, they would call them cockroaches. And it's the ability to do that, to look at other people as less than, that allowed this to happen. And as hard as this is, I think we're all capable of that. The United States at the time, the entire world knew what was happening in Rwanda, and we didn't do anything. We knew exactly that, hundreds of thousands of people were being killed, and we didn't do anything. Our president knew, but we were capable of the same dehumanization, the idea that you can look at other people as not equal to yourselves, as less than yourselves. And I want to give you an example of that. Have you ever made fun of somebody before? Or treated someone less than you? I hope some of you or all of you haven't, but I have. I think we're all capable of that. Now, I'm not saying that's to the level of this, but we're all able on some level to look at other people as less than ourselves, as not as good as us. And that's exactly what happened here on a very big scale. And so, for me, it's struggling with that idea that we're all capable of doing terrible things. But at the same time, we're all capable of doing good things. And that's something really important that I want to emphasize. So, when we went there, we didn't just go to learn about the genocide, learn about the development, and listen to different people. We heard from government officials there. We heard from different experts in the field. But we also went there to act. And it goes back to that idea of activism. We contributed in our own small way. And, it wasn't a huge thing. We didn't build a whole school, but we started helping to build one, for example. We tried to participate in these smaller acts and show people that we're equal to them and, just help in a small way. And so what I want to do is show you a clip of some of the work that we did do.
Well, we're mid-mountain, and I've been working with Demarze and Emmanuel, and they come from about 4 miles from here, and they're coming over to help other people who don't have the ability to have a house.
We're here today from all over the world, here for the UNESCO Chair, Intergenerational Human Rights Forum. We're here in the southern province of Rwanda, here to build homes for these villagers who are living on these lands that government wants to use those lands for the agriculture. So we're building these homes for them, so they can move to these homes and the government can use these lands to grow crops and all these different plants. So that's what we're here doing here today. So we pretty much first we level off these lands because as you know, Rwanda is has lots of hills.
My name's Sarah, Ireland.
And my name is Sylvia from Brazil.
Tough work, yeah.
It's tough work, and we are pretty happy to be able to help, even if it's a little bit of help. But we are really happy to be helping them.
Yeah, there's a big community.
And we are amazed that these are volunteer people helping the community to build their houses.
Well, there's something here called Umuganda, where it's one day. It's one day, right? One day where everyone does community service.
Really?
Yeah, every month once. It's like half a day. It's a half day where everyone does community service.
Everyone in the whole country?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
So everyone just goes out and does a community service for like half a day. And yeah, I think it's practical.
Yeah. Do you know her?
No. They are really friendly.
I wish I could speak more Kinyarwanda
Exactly.
because I can't talk to them as much as I'd like to.
It's a hard work. It is. I mean, I cannot imagine how these women, you see them, they have like babies in the back. At the same time, they're doing this hard work. I mean, I can't imagine that. Like us, we're like a perfectly normal, like a, healthy individuals that are having a hard time doing this thing. And can you imagine these people doing this for like every day? With the baby in the back, it's amazing. You don't really understand until you come over here and then do it for yourself. You just feel it, how hard it is. And then we just look at it, and then yeah, this is an easy job, but it's not. They do it like every day, in and out. So it makes you appreciate what you have, and then how much a lot of people here struggle for things that we take it for granted, especially back in the States. It's really, really powerful statement, for all of us to take it back with us.
So, what the message, real message you got in this working community?
That we all have to do our parts, isn't it? Like we all,
Yeah, definitely.
We all can do a little bit. There's always some little part that we can do, and it takes no effort, but like it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And we're just volunteering alongside the rest of the people here,
So we just moved about 3 feet, 3 cubic yards of soil, each one of us, and we moved it for approximately, I would say, about 40 feet. And we went back, we kept doing it. We did it about 5 or 6 times. And they were very impressed about how we all worked together. It wasn't about me or him, it was us. I've been learning this new word called Ubuntu. And I think the best explanation of that term I got was from my friend Brian from Uganda. And he said that one hand cannot wash itself, it takes its second hand. So I think this is the best example of Ubuntu.
This work, this day here, this morning here, for me represents that word, that it's Ubuntu, that I am because we are. So these volunteer people like working together to help the community, help the people that have no homes. That's the real meaning of it,
Yes.
So that's an example of some of the work that we were able to do there. We were also able to help, like I said, start building a school in a couple areas, and that's something that is a real priority in this country, in Rwanda, educating kids, because like I said, not every kid has the opportunity. And it was fun. It was funny to talk to some of these kids there about what is fun for them, like what do they do for fun. And they said studying. A little bit different than here, right? Yeah. Well, a lot of them don't have that opportunity, so it's something that they really are excited to do. And that was a really cool thing for me to be able to see there. And the idea that we can make an impact there, it was really, it was a great experience. So one of my favorite lessons, I think, one of the biggest lessons that I learned here is that we're all connected. There's this term global village that I really love, and I think it's true. We all live in a big village in the world, and Rwanda isn't that far away. I mean, I could call somebody from Rwanda on my cell phone right now. When I was there, I had better reception than I do here. In the furthest village, I had full reception, so that was pretty amazing to me. That wasn't something I expected, that's for sure. But not only the technology that can connect us, right? But it's on a human level. The idea that our actions here can make a difference. And in 1994, they made a negative difference, or at least they didn't help. Now we have the opportunity to do things that are good. And you guys are already doing it in Sudan, helping to build a school, raising money for that, which is great. But I think really, even though I met people who spoke different languages, who ate different food, who had different color skin, listened to different music, who had a different culture, we're all the same. I really believe that. A smile is a smile. You know what I mean? No matter where you go in the world, a smile means the same thing. And one of my favorite things to do there was when I was filming people, interviewing, or in these villages, everywhere I was able to go, I would flip the camera, the viewfinder around, and show people themselves. Because that's something else I think everybody loves, right? You love seeing yourself. You know, they have Facebook in Rwanda, and people just loved it. And, you know, so this is a clip that I put together of some of those reactions, and I really enjoyed doing this.
$11 and $6.
Oh, you did 3, 11, 6?
Yes. It's close to all the ground, I think.
Pues.
Then the fence and so
Oh. Yeah, go.
You.
Thank you.
Ni suka aja gini, jam hai.
Jaza kwa natiri. Mama we, nange ndiye. Ya zangu na wire. Uyuru karaja. Kararosa. Mami. Uje kurunguru karajamo we. Turi nutwana. Atuno twana turimo. Ya, iyi ni iterambere. Yewe. Turi nawe bro.
So, like I said, that was one of the things that I enjoyed the most. More than talking to people, it was just showing them themselves. And I think it all comes back to this idea, this word, Ubuntu. I don't know if you've ever heard of that word before. It is, yeah. It's a Celtic slogan right now. And it's a South African word. And you heard Sylvia from Brazil saying it in this video earlier, and Joe as well, who's from Connecticut. It means I am because we are. And think about that for a minute. I am because we are. It's the idea that we define ourselves in relation to others. So you all can define yourselves in relation to your peers at school. We can define ourselves in relation to the people in our state, people in our country. Our country defines itself in relation to people all over the world. And I think, you know, it also, it talks about a responsibility that we all have to each other, to help each other. You know, if you guys saw one of your peers and he really needed water, he was like really sick and he needed water, what would you do? You get him water. Well, 1 billion people in the world right now don't have clean water. And so we can help them. Just because they're not close to us or we can't necessarily see them doesn't mean we don't have a responsibility to them. And we all can do it in our small ways, whether it's raising money to build a well, raising money to build a school, or calling your senator or sending a letter to the president and asking them to support it. There's lots of different ways that you can do it in your in a small way that adds up to a big way. You don't all have to go to Africa and do the hands-on work necessarily. There's lots of things you can do here that help people. And by the way, there are people in this country who need help as well. So there's plenty of people to be helped. But I think it also, Ubuntu, it's the idea that we can have an impact on everyone in the world. But it's important to understand that they can have an impact on us too. And so traveling there, I know that I will always remember this, and these people had a really deep impact on me, so I encourage you, travel, meet people as much as you can. And like I said, I'll never forget the impact that they had on me, and I'm just trying to share that as much as I can. So that's the end of my presentation. I want to open it up to any questions you guys have.
I have a question.
Yeah.
We talked about earlier that the kids were prepared for your presentation about the Hutu and the Tutsi. And my question is, what's the situation in terms of the relationship now?
That's a good question. Now, basically, and this is one of the reasons, like I said, that we went there to learn about what the government is doing, how people are acting towards each other, for example. And now you actually cannot talk about which race you are. You can't talk about Hutu or Tutsi. Everybody's a Rwandan. And, I think it's a good idea at first. I'm not sure. I think it has kind of mixed ideas because even though you're not saying the words, people still look at other people as different. So just saying that you can't talk about it anymore doesn't mean it goes away. I think they're headed in the right direction. People aren't killing each other. There's not this kind of violence anymore. It's been 16 years. And people know, they understand that nobody wants violence anymore. They don't want to keep doing this. And the youth especially there, it was amazing because they're the ones who are going to be leading this country in the future. I met people my age and younger who are very excited to take leadership roles and don't look at other people as different. I really believe that they are human rights activists. They want to see their country move forward. And so I was really hopeful by what I saw.
Can they actually see the difference
Well,
in each other, or is it at this point like intermarriage to the point where they really can't?
Certainly there was a lot of intermarriage, so it is to the point where it's hard. I mean, there are people who are lighter than others. I certainly wouldn't be able to tell the difference. They, I think, can to some extent still. Some people are lighter than others. Some people are probably right at that point where you can't even tell. And of course, this is all just created. There's nothing real about it, but unfortunately, it was created along pretty bad history. They were colonized by the Belgians, and basically the people in power there, from a totally different country in Europe, were telling these people that these people are better and these people are worse, and they put one kind of people in power over the rest. And so, it really goes back a long way, and it's going to take time to overcome. But I think they're headed in the right direction.
Anybody else have questions?
Any more questions?
I heard a question over here. Someone asked if they have mirrors.
That's a very good question. It really is diverse where you go. So we stayed in the capital, and there were big buildings, there were hotels, there were, people, it was like a city here, smaller, but it was still like a city. And so there they would definitely have mirrors. The more rural areas, I don't think a mirror would really be up high on their list. These people, a lot of these people are barely making it day to day to get food. So I would not say they had mirrors. I did not see mirrors in some of these more rural places. I'm not sure, but certainly I can tell you that they're not as used to seeing themselves as we are, and that was part of the reason why they were so excited, to be seeing themselves, and it was almost like a mirror, looking at yourself. So.
I have a question. I've read a couple of personal accounts of people that have lived through it, and from my vision, I thought the country itself was destroyed a lot.
Yeah.
Yet, at least from what you showed, it doesn't. Can you visibly see effects on the land and things?
Well, that's what's pretty amazing. Even in this short time, 16 years, you really can't. I couldn't. I mean, there are probably certain places that aren't what they used to be, you know, and I obviously didn't go there before 1994, but there weren't traces of it in the landscape, in the buildings. The government has done a great job of rebuilding because the whole country was destroyed. You know, it was total chaos. And so, you know, there's still lands that are being reappropriated, sort of. People are coming back still and taking over the land that they used to own and stuff like that. But as far as just visually looking around, you really wouldn't guess that this ever happened, which is pretty amazing. Yep, a question back there.
How long were you there for?
I was only there for 11 days. Yeah, which, you know, was enough to see enough, I guess, but it would have been nice to stay longer. Goes by pretty fast. Yep.
You say some people struggle with food. Where did you eat food?
Like, what did we eat when we were there? Well, you know, it goes back to this idea that there's a capital city where people have buildings and lots of the things that we have here, and then there's the more rural areas. We stayed in the capital, and it's not that there isn't enough food there, it's that it's not reaching everybody, you know? And so we ate while we were there, and actually that was another thing I was really surprised because the food wasn't all that different. You know, we had rice and beef and potatoes, lots of potatoes. We had a lot of bananas. There were bananas that were cooked differently and actually types of bananas that taste like potatoes. You know, that was probably the most different thing I had. But the food itself wasn't all that different, you know. And we never had a lack of it, to answer your question. We always had food there. So I think it's there. It's just hard to get it to all the people who need it. Yep.
How does a banana taste like a potato?
That's a very good question. The thing is, we're used to getting a very specific type of banana here, and in other parts of the world, they actually have bananas that just taste totally different. So although we think of a banana tasting like, you know, a banana here, they actually can taste like potatoes. I think we have one here called plantain, is it called? That I'm not sure, I've never tried them, so I think that's similar. But it's just a different kind, you know, just like there are different kinds of potatoes that taste different. Like there's a sweet potato, doesn't really taste a lot like a regular potato, kind of like on that idea, you know? You're pointing. Oh, sorry, have you been waiting?
Is coffee still Rwanda's main export?
Yeah, it is one of their main exports, and it's very good too. We had coffee there. I don't know if any of you guys drink coffee yet or whatever, but
Yeah, I think so.
yeah? Really? Wow. I guess 7th grade I probably drank coffee too. It's very good coffee, and actually that is one of the things that they export here. So you can buy it. I think even Starbucks might coffee. And you know, that was something that was hurt during the genocide, so they've had to rebuild it, but now that's one of their main exports. Good question. Any other questions? Yeah?
Do you think the genocide will happen again?
That's a great question too. I'd like to be able to just tell you no for sure, but I don't know. Like I said, I think they're on the right path, but there still is a difference. People still look at other people different than them. And, you know, I think leadership has a big part to play in that country. So it'll be interesting to see, like, there's elections, for instance, in August. And it's a pretty big thing to watch because, you know, the leadership can go a long way. I mean, it was leadership that allowed also another factor that contributed to the genocide because you had leaders in place who were actually promoting this agenda. They were telling people that these people are different than you. They're trying to take over the country. You know, they were actually spreading all the hate. So leadership will be a big role. You know, I wish I could tell you more a yes or no answer, but I guess it's just really complicated. And that was one of the things that was always difficult for me too, because we all kind of look for the easy answers or the, you know, more direct answers, but it's just a very complicated issue, and it will be interesting to watch. I am hopeful that it won't happen again. Okay, yeah.
When you went there, did you see any other kids playing like sports or anything?
I did. I saw some kids playing soccer. That was a big sport there. You know, a lot of the kids, like we were talking to some in one of the villages and about what they do for fun, and they like soccer, but they don't have a soccer ball. You know, so they would like put together a ball made out of who knows what material that they can find. So there's a lot of that. You know, the kids love playing like any other kids, but they don't necessarily have all the equipment. So you would never see like, you know, hockey or like it's a sport that requires a lot of equipment. It's sort of the easy stuff. So I definitely saw some sports there. Yeah.
Okay, we're almost
all right.
out of time, so can everybody just give your appreciation?
Thank you.